And Don is admitting.
Mhm.
Okay. So, welcome everybody to the integration for Cycle 1 in Colorado in 2024. Wow. Cool.
Mhm.
Welcome.
Yay.
So, we're going to start off with guess what? A heart salutation. So, just take a minute and if you would close your eyes or look down towards the floor, just take a moment to let yourself settle and get into your body,
Mm.
whatever it takes for you to arrive and be present. Sit bones on the cushion, root into the earth. Deep breath. Ah. Then we'll bring our hands together with our fingertips pointing into the earth so we can laser beam all the way to the center. And then we'll open our eyes, inhale our hands and breath up to our hearts. Exhale, look into everybody's eyes here, as best you can on Zoom. I know it's an odd thing on Zoom, but try to take in the eyes. And then we'll inhale back upright and exhale back to the earth. Then we're going to make a big bubble that includes everybody.
All across the US, Canada, wherever anybody else is here. Mhm. Yeah. Ames,
So,
Iowa.
welcome.
Those exotic places.
Yeah, in the middle of the country.
Yeah, yeah. So welcome. I see Felice and Don has joined us. So glad you're here. Yay.
Just
Bye.
first, I actually have to go. I have an appointment I got to run to, but I wanted to pop in and say hi and love to all of you. And
Oh,
good to see all of you. Go ahead.
Thanks,
thank you.
son.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
good to see you.
Next time.
Yeah, we'll have to catch up sometime. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and that so after the LET that there often can be a range of experiences going home. There's, what did you feel at the end of it, with the community and that departing? What did you feel coming into your home as it is, whether it was a mobile home for some of you or a physical space that you have lived for a long time? Did it feel different? How did it feel being with your community that you have there in your space? And for a lot of people, we often hear that there can be sort of this high that you're leaving, and sometimes there's a drop of energy, drop of some loneliness, or even a grieving that can happen, the closeness and the support that happens. And sometimes there's other people that just sort of feel like they soar for a while. And so whatever you are feeling is normal and welcome, and want to create some time that we can check in for how are you doing, and then after that we'll offer a few ideas of how to continue the SkyDancing practices or other things that might be of support, even given what you share or what's come up to as a group, that we want to be able to tune into where everyone is. And some of you will be together shortly again for the LET2 and
Yay, cycle 2.
uh, yeah, and others will be finding some other ways. I don't know if there's other ways you can connect. Have you established the WhatsApp group? Has that happened, that you have a WhatsApp group? And
Yeah,
yeah,
a couple nods, yes, yay.
yeah. And how's that going? What's feels like that? There's there communication or other things that are feel helpful from that?
We're the South. Can you hear me? This is
Yep.
Trina. We're the Southwestern group, and we met I don't know, Monday, Sunday, And we've established another meeting in October, and I think everybody joined and participated and helped me to reestablish connection.
Oh, wonderful. And was that in person or online for the
Zoom.
Southwest?
It was on Zoom. Don,
Zoom.
yeah, Tom set it up.
Cool.
Okay, nice.
Not me.
No, it's not Tom, it's Don.
Dawn.
Ah,
Dawn
okay.
did.
You're my mother.
Uh-huh. Great. Oh, good. Anybody else connecting online or Zoom or anything? Anyway. This with a WhatsApp group. Okay.
Cool. So, where to go next?
Yeah, so maybe what would be helpful is to invite each person to take a couple minutes to share, a minute and a half to 2 minutes to share, just really how are you, what both is alive here for right now and what you're feeling, and then sort of how are you living either Tantra or the ups and downs of where you're at. And during this time, we will turn off the recording so you can have your own personal time, and then we'll turn it on again at the end with, when we talk a little bit more that might be more globally related to what's going on.
And I do have a bit of a timer that you want a minute and a half or 2 minutes. What do we want here? We've got just a few people.
Yeah, let's do 2 minutes.
Okay.
And then
So I have a timer, and you can see it in the corner of our screen once I start. And let me turn off the sure.
And then yeah, because I think everybody's shared now, right?
Well, Brenda might share when she gets to her parking place, but
yeah, anytime you're ready, Brenda, let us know. And but otherwise, that I know one question had come up about streaming, and then Felicia, you kind of mentioned the challenge of a gap in your partnership. That I don't know if you have a question with that you would love some support with. And is there any other questions that are hanging out there for anybody at this point too? And if there are questions that rise as we speak, feel free to include them too. That I want to offer that for where we're at. And Norm, you want to say a little bit more about the streaming question that you had, what specifically it is? And I can remind people of the streaming practice in case you don't remember the name. The name doesn't ring a bell because there were so many things we did, but it was the one where you first shake, and then you rock back and forth to tire your legs. You lean over and pat your body, and then standing up so you can stream the energy. It's the fluff and stream. There is also the butterfly part where you're saying yes to your sexuality, and that doesn't have to be part of it if you're just working on your streaming, but that is a beautiful aspect of saying yes, you're sexually waking up your body and using the streaming to ignite more of your sexuality, sensuality, and vibrancy in that way. So that's the practice itself, to remind people. And then Norm, you had a question about it specifically?
That was actually it, to go over the parts of the practice. So maybe you could slow down so I could take notes.
Well, what we can say is it is in Margot's book, The Art of Sexual
It is?
Ecstasy, that the practice itself is in there. So you can use it from the book, and it'll walk you through. Let me see if there's any part. I think the body padding is not the same in the book, that we found that to be really helpful. And so that part is not included, but the other parts are, and all the different steps. And
So it was shaking, then rocking back and forth,
Shaking.
partner,
rocking back and forth to stress your muscles and create like a spontaneous tremor. And then
Body
bending
paddle.
over and patting the whole body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the streaming part is once you stand up as you're getting that charge, that energy rising through your central channel.
And then was there another part after that? Or?
Then you could lie down and your partner would be towards your head, or if you're by yourself, you could just put your hands up and connect with the divine and have your legs opening on the exhale and closing on the inhale, and on the exhale saying yes. And yes to your sexuality, yes to your life force, yes to whatever you want to say yes to. And then another thing that's, I think, important to do is to give yourself time for integration after you do a practice. And I know that sometimes in yoga, Shavasana is the hardest pose because it seems like nothing, but that's where all the integration happens. And so, especially if you do a tantric practice, to give yourself that time is a wise thing.
And it was inhale on the open of the butterfly and exhale on the close.
Usually exhale on the open because you're saying yes as you open. Yes. Yeah.
I think I got it. Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that's come alive for me is we have, as you may know, this teacher training that's coming up. And so I've been talking to a couple of people and was talking to Olga about, what do you do to keep the practices alive? And, even just to, we didn't do this meditation, but there's a Kundalini meditation where you shake for 15 minutes and then dance freely for 15 minutes and then sit and meditate for the rest of the time. But to just stand up and start your day with just a shaking practice. It's like shake. And I like to start with my feet on the ground and like I'm on an earthquake and it just starts to, move. And Osho wrote about shake yourself to the foundation, shake the rocks out of your structure kind of thing. And so there's
and be the shaking, don't do the shaking.
Become the shaking, yeah.
The shaking.
Yeah, and at first, if you need to, do the shaking to get it, that's fine. It's kind of like with the streaming. It's okay to do it for a while. But the goal, if there is a goal, is to eventually become the shaking.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or challenges or?
Yeah, I'm thinking also, Norm, of your idea of the whole, full body orgasm that's comes often from doing the practice of sexual breathing, and streaming is just another way to help support that full body orgasm. That's they're both of them are as valuable as each other in their own way to help open that inner channel and to get the super highway rolling there through your body.
Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that brings up for me a practice we did in the weekend with the chakra breathing, and how since I felt so blocked for a long time with feeling chakras, moving energy and stuff, I would literally practice the chakra breathing every day. I could, a number of times a week. And I got to the point now when I do the chakra breathing, it feels like like I'm close to a full body orgasm. Like, it's like there's still I think a letting go process that needs to maybe happen in my psyche. And it would probably help to practice more often. And I've kind of lost that practice. So I'm telling myself maybe it's time to get back to it. But just what I did at the time was it's like, okay, neurons that fire together, wire together. If I practice this often enough and intend to like have a full body orgasm at chakra 7, eventually my body's gonna align that way. And so that's what I did for a practice for a year. And it really helped.
Any other questions about this topic right now before we move on?
I do have a question about that. I'm still driving, but if I can ask that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Brenda.
So when in one of the handouts that you passed, it says to practice the streaming with the Kundalini meditation. So my question is, how would you integrate the streaming with the Kundalini meditation? Like the Kundalini meditation has 4 stages. The first is the shaking, the second is the dancing, and then the meditation, and then lay down. So how would you incorporate the streaming process into the Kundalini meditation?
Yeah, good question. I think it refers to mostly the shaking practice, phase 1 of the Kundalini meditation. And you could definitely use that for the leaning forward, the leaning back, the patting, and the streaming itself.
Yeah, and then maybe the dancing is more of the streaming too, that just finding that flow within you. And the more quiet would be the butterfly. So the timing may be slightly different, but it can be something that does support having some music that supports you in your practice. And that's the closest I think that is just out there regularly.
And
does that answer your question, Brenda?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and so the other part was in terms of time. I think in the book it says you're supposed to take maybe more than an hour to do the streaming. So the Kundalini just lasts an hour. So it doesn't really matter the time.
That it, you can adjust to what you can have. You could do it in 5 minutes if that's all you have. But the practice usually does take about an hour. And I'm guessing what they're saying is that you're doing the butterfly during the sitting part of the meditation and then integrating at the end of that. And yeah, that I actually haven't used the Kundalini myself to know how it regulates, because we've got the streaming playlist that we've created, and it does have some Kundalini shaking part of it that is in there, but it's not the Osho meditation too.
Well, and I'm going to post a link for our Spotify list about streaming in the chat. I just put it there. If you want to click on it, it'll open up in Spotify. And I just want to give a caveat. You can find all of the playlists that we've cultivated under the name Sachi Joe, and I've made them all publicly accessible. But the caveat is we change it all the time. There's like a song that works for a while, and then we're like, oh no, not that one. Let's do this one. And so it's a living, breathing cultivation of playlists. And we also know that, okay, this is going here, and let's skip that song, not do that one, we'll do this one. So but in general, you could just play like that streaming playlist, I think, almost straight through, and should be able to have a nice streaming practice.
Yeah, and then there's often songs we put at the end for integration or other ones that we sort of like to have. But
and sometimes we'll put a song in the beginning. It doesn't look like we did it on this one because it says best of percussion for the first one, but there might be a song in the beginning if it's really mellow and quiet for you to do sacred space. And sometimes what we do, we have a playlist we call Beautiful Music, and we'll just go to that playlist and play a few songs, and that's a sacred music playlist.
Is that
Thank you.
helpful? Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
I also want to say thank you for that, because I've been looking for something to help me get up earlier in the morning and get more productive earlier. And yeah, that's a nice practice that I'll make sure sure. And thank you for the playlist for that also.
Good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to offer that, and that, and this can be something you even do on Zoom together if you want, because you can do it yourself. As you saw me, I was patting my body, I was doing the moving, and and to offer that, or that that you do it with one of you witnessing and holding space, and then one of you doing it, and then like in breakout rooms, um, and then sharing or trading afterwards. That can be sweet.
Sachi Joe, I'm sorry, they're all on Spotify, right?
Most of our music that we use is on Spotify, but there's a whole bunch that we use that's real specific that's in iTunes that we've cultivated and collected. And I don't know how to share an iTunes playlist. I don't know that you can. But then there's certain times where somebody tells us some music and we find it on Spotify and we cultivate a playlist there.
Mhm.
So we tend to use both.
Yeah, I think for LETs, you'll find more of it on Spotify. The weekends were things that we did before Spotify existed, and so those played less often or not on Spotify.
On iTunes.
On
Mhm.
iTunes, yeah.
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 And then I think during the LAT one, you also shared a website, which I've lost track of, where I thought there was some meditations with some guidance.
Is that the one with Jeru Kabal that you're talking about?
I just thought it was a grouping of various meditations that we did with the voice in the sky. But maybe maybe I'm misremembering.
The Osho meditations, would that be? Because that is a free access to Osho meditations where they have the description, they have a demonstration of the different steps, and then you can just turn it on and go do that. So
I'm just looking here.
Yeah, I'm looking on my phone here to see if I can.
I don't see it
I mean,
there.
they're all of the ones that you can purchase at the shop, but I was just wondering if there was something else.
yeah, the Jeru Kabal, he's the one who did the first quantum light breath we did at the beginning, the second morning, and with like the music from the mission and some of those. And he has 3 or so different uh, meditations. One is quantum light breath, one is sunrise of the soul, and then releasing, I think it's releasing or transforming negative emotions.
Negative emotions, right?
And those are all guided with different music. And so those
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I right now I can't find it, but we'll try to get it to you guys.
Great. Thanks.
you can find his website.
Oh, actually, Brett put it in. So the jeru.scripting.com. Thanks, Brett. I couldn't find it fast enough. But on that site, there's also talks by Jeru where he, explains his process and what went into creating some of it. And if you listen, you can hear Margot's laugh in the background, and it's kind of fun to hear her.
She was in his classes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Shall we move on to the question about gaps in relationships and that would that be helpful? Or coming back, and sometimes even coming back into your home, into your partnership, there can be a gap between what you just experienced and where your partner is at. If you feel expansive, if you feel like you've got all this energy.
Yeah, and I think it's just a little just needing a little support around not, being with your partner, but not feeling like the teacher, but wanting to be, present and slow things down and give guidance, but without, then it gets a little like, teacherish. And I just need a little help.
Well,
or suggestions or something.
Just to relieve a little bit of pressure, and Tom and Shannon might be able to relate to this. Even if you've both gone through the same workshop, you come home and like, okay, who's the teacher now. And no, you can't teach me that. I know what I remember. And
This is how I thought we
yeah,
were supposed to
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
No, this is
This
how we
this
do
step first. Yeah. So
it. Yeah. So it can be. Uh, I guess what I would say is to be really gentle with that part is to take it slowly, decide what's the most important part to bring your partner into the practice, and can you do it in a conversation or not in the lovemaking time, not in the experience, but just say, hey, I've really been enjoying, like even if you catch them doing it, like, oh, that feels so good when you slow down like that, rather than, you know what, this isn't working for me. We need to slow down more.
Yeah.
But whether even if they're doing it just a little bit, and then kind of pick one skill at a time to do, and or can you find some recording online that would guide them in some of that, so it's not coming from you, but there is some element that is offered within the the quality of the interaction that you want to have. And
I think that's why I was looking for the possible links to some of the guided practices, so that he can listen and I can step out of my head.
yeah, it's on our list to record some of the things we guide, and it's a challenge because we're in the group room and all that. But someday we'll get to it. If you're interested, Lokita and Steve have a very nice recording, what they call the Breath of Tantric Love, which is on our website. And it's something that we don't really cover in cycle 1, but we're going to get to, and it'll lead into the Wave of Bliss. And so it's a stepping stone, and we cover a lot of it in the Art of Loving.
the heart wave.
The heart wave is what it's called.
Version.
And they just created their version called the Breath of Tantric Love.
And Felice, you've already been in cycle 2, so you may remember that heart wave.
Yeah. Refreshers are always good.
Yeah. So if you wanted to get that recording, and then
I see it here on the website. So thanks for reminding me about that.
Yeah, and that's a nice one because you put it on and nobody becomes the teacher. No, you're just you're both there together following.
Right.
That's actually what we got to do is get some things like that going.
Post that in the chat, Felice, if you don't mind.
Well, I've got it on my phone. I don't know how
I can get it for you.
It's in the store, right?
Yeah, it's in the store.
Yeah, it's in the store. It's at the SkyDancing Tantra.org, the store.
I'll just put the store link into the chat. So there. But yeah, if you go to our website and you just click on store, it's going to open up. And then if you scroll down, you can buy a t-shirt or a water bottle or all sorts of stuff. And then there's at the bottom, there's the Breath of Tantric Love. You can get Chakra Wisdom, the Quantum Light Breath by Richard. And then Lokita has her new books on the website as well.
Yeah, it came out about a month ago, her book and her story.
We've been starting to read that book ourselves because it's just, we were there for a lot of it and knew some of what was going on, but now we're learning the behind the scenes of what was going on for Lokita.
Actually, Joe, could I offer some thoughts around this? Because I think one of the things I've found is if we can take time kind of that's not in sacred space yet to talk about what is it we're going to do, let's review the thing, let's, the technical part of it, and then have an agreement in place that when we go into the sacred space, whatever happens, we're just going to roll with it, right? And kind of use the rules of improv. Whatever happens, I'm gonna flow with it. And then maybe you want to, after you come out of sacred space, talk about how did that go. But I think holding the sacred space sacred and saying while we're in there, neither one of us are going to be the teacher. We're going to have this, this experience together, but make space to have conversation and bookend it with, what are we going to do? How did we do? Rather than sort of dropping into the, no, wait a minute, we're supposed to scratch our left ear first, or, whatever the thing is. I don't know. I've found that to be helpful.
Yeah, great suggestion, Tom. Thanks. That's beautiful.
And that could even be for your own practice, is to try to be gentle and forgiving for yourself if you aren't, remembering the order, or this isn't working as it did in group, and that to not be, get into the technical angst about it. Yeah. And Felice, that we had one person who went through the teacher training with us and got in a relationship with someone who, when he started talking about Tantra, she would just sort of freeze. And so he never called it that. And he would just sort of weave things in instead of saying, hey, this is what I've learned and I want to teach you. He would just sort of weave it into their interactions, and she would be doing things and not even realize that what it was or where it came from, the origin, because it's really about living and being, ourselves too. Does that help at all?
Yeah, no, that does. And I keep, I think creating the sacred space and really, I like that suggestion of, let's talk outside of our bubble, da-dee-da-dee-da, and then come into sacred space and let's play. We're here. Eros is building. See what happens.
Yeah, because if you're
taking the pressure out.
Yeah, rid of the pressure, the right and wrong, because that'll really decrease.
Oh yeah, that flatlines everything.
Arousal.
I call it flatlining.
Yeah, and great things to take out of sacred space. The teachers had the rules, the right or the wrong, and to bring in freedom and flow, and to just remind yourself when you're creating the sacred space of your intention with that.
Thank you.
Other questions that come up right now?
I have a question. I have been doing a few of the practices sporadically with the emphasis on sporadic. And I'm realizing one of the barriers for me is when I review in my mind the practices from the training, they feel like there's 112 of them. So I'm wondering if there was one practice that's 15 minutes long, is there one that you could say, if you're only going to do one for 15 minutes, do this one. That would help me focus and not feel kind of a little bit lost by the options.
Well, a couple keep coming up for me. Personally, one of my favorite things to do is just shaking. Literally, I've put on just any music and just shaken. Like shaking all my nonsense out of my head, kind of thing. The other one I have loved, I mentioned, is the chakra breathing, and to just do it on a regular basis. And then I think cord cutting. I don't know. I could go on. There's a bunch.
Should we each say?
Yeah. Everybody say their favorites.
Which day would you for your 15 minutes? What would it be? How about you? Amanda or Shannon?
I would do shaking and chakra breathing. First do shaking to get myself awake, and then chakra breathing to get the subtle states awake, and then I'll do silent meditation and continue with my day.
I've just been doing the QLB just in different places, not necessarily for a long time, but it's just yeah, I'm really liking it. Just really doing this nice deep breaths, and even when I'm in the pool, I'll just like tread water and breathe. So I'm just taking it in like little bites to all over the place with me. It's kind of working for me.
What you just said, Shannon, I do what I like it. I do it because I like it. It feels good. That's an awesome, path to follow.
Other people, what would you do for your 15 minutes?
Chakra breathing.
One that's overlooked, I think, is sexual breathing, because you can do sexual breathing and nobody needs to know. You could be in a movie theater or listening to a boring lecture and just start doing your own sexual breathing.
That's actually my favorite. I do that a lot. And whether it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, to me, it's playing the instrument of my body, and it helps clear my blocks. And I can sometimes notice if my throat is closed, and I can just, open it up and do more with it. And so, yeah, I feel like that's my go-to.
I'm rocking all the time. And if somebody says, "Is everything okay?" I say, "Oh yeah, I'm just working on my lower back."
Yeah, I'm with you, Sachijo, on the sexual breathing. It's like I find when my energy's low or I'm having trouble focusing or anything like that, just a little bit of that to sort of pump the energy into my body is, it's part of what gets me through the day, I think. But I do also find for me, it's like when I work on moving the energy, I feel blocks. And so that cord cutting has been kind of been the one that's helped with the blocks for me, probably. But it takes a little more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the cord cutting's another one we have on our playlist.
I'm just looking. We have
I think it's
a playlist called Cord Cutting, and I can put the link in the chat. We also have another playlist called the Cord Cutting Attempt, which is something we started and never finished. And then we have a New Year's Eve cord cutting, and
that was part of it. We did a New Year's Eve event.
Yeah.
I've had just a short version of the cord cutting.
And with
Spotify to clear before you went into the new year.
Yeah, with Spotify nowadays, I just type cord into the search, and that comes up. But so there's a challenging situation in my life, and I wanted to do the cord cutting, and my brain was finding all these reasons why I can't do it, because I'd have to ask Sarah to cut the music and blah, blah, blah. And, I was just, spinning. And I finally said, the hell with it, just go do it, And so I went out and I found a quiet spot, and I turned on my computer, this cord cutting playlist. I did the sacred space with this situation, and I started the music, and I moved and I breathed, and then I raised my hand and I cut the cord. And then the only thing is I had to go hit the space bar to stop it. So there was this little pause between cutting the cord and hitting the space bar. But, it worked.
So I'm just looking at it. It seems like there's
two songs
to prepare before the first one is the James Asher one, where the shaman drums.
The standing Ngoma.
Yeah, is the first chakra if you're going to do that one. And then they move through the 7, and then integration at the end. And
so, yeah, I figured out that if I stop the music, when I started the music, I could, I think it was hit return and move it to the next song or something like that. So I was very efficient with my distractions on the playlist.
So on this playlist, like Standing Ngoma is chakra 1 and the mystic is chakra too, so you work through the songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And what I did was I did my movement, my breathing, sounding until I felt like I was starting to visualize where the cord was attached. And I kept doing that. And it was good to do it because all of a sudden I felt like, oh, this cord is restricting my movement. It's restricting something about this chakra. And then when I kind of identified that, then I was ready to cut it and let it go. And then I did I changed it to I give you back what's yours and I take back what's mine because that felt right in given this situation. And then I do some healing on the chakra and intending it to be better. And then I'd start the music and start with the next chakra.
Yeah. I'm guessing you guys received the email that followed up after cycle 1, and it was about freedom, finding freedom in our lives, and how you had said, I send me love, send me freedom, and I had more people respond to that email than any I've had. That they really appreciated that message, and so thank you for your inspiration and from that time. Being yourselves to make that cycle work for us as a group. So thanks. I think we're getting close to the end. Is there other questions?
Yeah.
I was just looking at
anything still bubbling?
Whatever happened to Osho?
Go ahead, Trina.
Whatever happened to Osho and the whole Rajneesh movement?
Good question. I don't know 100% the answer. We have a friend in France that's trying to work with the current Osho center in Pune. Hi, Drew.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, hello everybody. Sorry about the lateness.
Yeah.
Just got back from work and everything.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Good to see you guys too. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we were answering Trina's question, and I would love to just check in with how you're doing and such. Everybody has already shared kind of
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured I'd be catching at the end here. So
a little bit about how they're doing. And Trina had asked about what's happening with Osho because he was an important Indian mystic also in the line of Tantra that he normalized it for a lot of people, educated through different spiritual practices and Tantra. And Margot did study some with him, and many other Tantra teachers did after that too. So he had a ashram in Pune, and that one still exists. And there's different. There's some people who manage it. There's some people who manage his meditations that are available for free. That was one of the things he had asked for, was that his programs and somebody needs to go.
Hi, Felice.
Hi, Felice. Yeah. That what he taught in his discourses will also be available for free.
Yeah, and you can find Osho discourses on YouTube all over the place.
Okay, thank you.
And like a lot of high profile figures, there was some controversy. I tend to want to take the good and to let go of the negative comments. And I trace so many things that started with Osho's influence. There's so many people, like there's composers, Karunesh and Deva Premal, and there's another one I'm thinking of. Anyway, a number of composers. Oh, Deuter. Deuter has tons of music. So there's a lot by Tracy. So there's a lot of musicians that went through. There's a lot of different meditation. There's a path of love. Of course, Margot's SkyDancing Tantra. Anand Sarita has Tantra Essence. There's a whole host of things that have blossomed in the world because of Osho's influence. I think even ecstatic dance is possibly
Yeah.
an
Active
offshoot
meditations.
from, Osho's
Drew
influence.
Cabal was there.
Right.
And a lot of music that came from that.
Right.
Right.
Shows meditations. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and Tommy, did you have a question, or how about we do check in with Drew first, and then come back to your question? And yeah, I'd love to hear how you're doing, Drew, and
I'm doing okay. Yeah, hanging in there.
And I just want to put a reminder in for us. We turned off the recording for everybody else to share. We just forgot for Drew, so we'll have to edit it out, Drew. So that because we wanted to send out the questions and answers to other folks, but not the personal sharing. So we'll take care of that.
Great. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Tom, did you have a question or?
Yeah, my question was just, for those of us that are coming into LE2 in a week, are there any particular practices that would better prepare for that?
Well, let's see. Shaking, chakra breathing, sexual breathing.
Got it.
No, it's
That's
being
kind of it. Yeah.
well, that's it, and it's all that we talked about, being in the flow and doing what really motivates you, works for you. So yeah, to if it's possible to do another pelvic floor healing. I know it's only a week away, but that would be an awesome thing to do.
Yeah, and you've also mentioned, a few of you, that now it's coming around quickly. So some of it is just how to find rest, how to, take care of yourself that you need to feel like, if work is crazy, that, are there things you can do to.
That's not happening.
They're there.
I mean, it's a nice idea.
To come in a little resourced or relaxed or rested. So, because that's going to be the most helpful, is, have any energy when you come to the event. Yeah.
I'm just doing my best.
Right. No, for the calendar. I know what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we should close with our heart salutation,
let's do that.
and finish up here. And it's been really, really sweet to see everybody. And I just wish I was seeing everybody in the coming days here. But I hope that we can all find time to come together in some ways. And I know you're doing some online groups and other things, so enjoy that, keep that up.
So let's focus inward. If you want to close your eyes, look down. Just take that moment to connect with yourself and realize that you are supported by this planet that we walk around on every day, and give her some gratitude for taking care of you. Reach the top of your head up into the sky, connecting with the cosmos above. Centering yourself in the middle of these two magnificently huge forces. And then bring your hands together, point your fingertips towards the earth. Open your eyes, inhale up to your hearts. Exhale, look into the eyes of everybody on the screen. Inhale back upright. Exhale back to the earth. And we had created a bubble, so let's release it. Yay.
Yeah. And unmute to say your goodbyes, your see you later, see you soon, whatever it is.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Nice to see you all.
See you. See you soon.
Bye, everyone. Good to see you.
Take
Thank
good
you.
care.
Yeah, bye, everyone. Bye. Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye. Oops, you went on.
Yeah. Bye, Brenda.
I will stop the meeting so you don't have to do anything when you're driving.